There is a truth that every one of us eventually learns, often the hard way. Not everything needs to be said, and not everyone deserves to know everything about you. When we are young, we often confuse openness with authenticity. We believe that sharing everything is the fastest way to build trust, that telling our whole story will help people understand and love us more. But as life unfolds, as betrayals cut deeper and the weight of misplaced trust becomes heavier, we begin to see the wisdom in silence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power. The deeper and wiser a person becomes, the more they learn to hold back rather than pour out. It's not because they are afraid or detached, but because they understand that once something is spoken, it no longer belongs solely to them. Some truths, once shared, slip beyond your control. And some wounds, if entrusted to the wrong ears, won't turn into compassion. They'll become weapons used against you when the time is right. That is why those who have lived through heartbreak, who have shed tears and learned from pain, often grow quieter. Their calm is not emptiness, it is strength. The first and perhaps most important lesson among all is this: never reveal your entire life story to anyone. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most common mistakes people make. In moments of vulnerability, we open up to someone, believing they will listen, understand, and keep our secrets safe. But the truth is, no one will ever understand your story the way you do, and not everyone has the depth to cherish what you share. Some will be curious, some will judge, and some, the most dangerous, will use your own words against you when it suits them. Remember, the most intimate parts of your life, your past mistakes, your unhealed wounds, your unspoken dreams, are also the most fragile. When you hand them to someone unworthy, you give them the key to your softest spots. And once that happens, a simple change of heart on their side can turn what was once trust into betrayal. Learning to remain silent about your life is not a sign of fear. It's a sign of wisdom and self-respect. Don't feel like you must overshare to be understood or loved. Those who truly care about you will love you without needing to know every chapter of your past. They will see your worth in who you are today, not in the details you reveal. Speak less, hold back more. Share just enough to connect, but never so much that you lose your center. Let people see who you are through your actions, through your choices, through your calm and collected presence, not through every memory you've ever lived. The wise do not hide their past out of shame. They keep it to themselves because they understand that their value does not depend on how much others know about them. It depends on how deeply they know themselves. And one day, you'll realize that keeping parts of your story to yourself doesn't make you lonely. It makes you stronger. The silence you practice will shield you from unnecessary pain, preserve your mental space, and, above all, give you control over your own narrative. No one can use anything against you if they don't know it. Ask yourself, honestly, do I really need to say this? Will it make my life better, or will it make me more vulnerable? If the answer is no, let it rest quietly in your heart. Sometimes silence is the purest form of self-love. This is the first lesson in our journey through 15 profound insights about the things you should never say to anyone. It's the starting point of a path that will teach you how to live more wisely, more peacefully, and more powerfully in a world where words can be both medicine and knives. Because when you learn what to keep for yourself, you don't just protect secrets, you protect your energy, your peace, and your dignity. One of the most painful lessons you learn as you grow wiser is that silence is not only about what you keep to yourself, it's also about what you choose not to give away. Words have weight, and once spoken, they can shape the way people see you, use you, and even manipulate you. Every piece of information you reveal becomes a piece of you that you hand over to someone else, and not everyone deserves that power. Another thing you should never share too freely is your long-term plans and deepest ambitions. When you speak too soon about the dreams that still live quietly inside you, you expose them to criticism, envy, and doubt, often from the very people who claim to support you. The human mind is fragile, especially when it comes to unfulfilled dreams. And a single, careless remark from someone you trust can plant a seed of hesitation that grows into a forest of self-doubt. True strength lies in nurturing your goals silently, protecting them like a flame in the wind until they are strong enough to burn on their own. People who truly achieve great things often do so without announcing every step. They move quietly, build slowly, and let their success speak when the time is right. Talking too much about your plans can create a false sense of accomplishment that tricks your brain into thinking you've already achieved them, draining the motivation you need to actually make them real. Silence, on the other hand, keeps the hunger alive. It keeps you focused, and it protects your dreams from the weight of others' expectations. The next thing to guard carefully is your acts of kindness and generosity. There is a quiet nobility in doing good without seeking recognition. When you constantly talk about the help you've given or the sacrifices you've made, your intention begins to shift from genuine compassion to a craving for validation. True kindness doesn't need applause. It doesn't need a witness. It leaves its mark in the world quietly, often without anyone knowing who was behind it. Moreover, when you speak too openly about your generosity, people may start to expect it, or worse, exploit it. They stop seeing your kindness as a gift and begin to see it as an obligation. They stop appreciating it, and you may find yourself drained, emotionally, financially, even spiritually, without ever feeling truly valued. By keeping your good deeds private, you protect both your own heart and the sacredness of what you give. There is also wisdom in keeping your personal struggles and weaknesses away from the public eye. This does not mean you must hide or deny them. It means you should choose carefully where and with whom you share them. Vulnerability is powerful, but only in safe hands. When shared with the wrong person, your struggles can become gossip, your pain can become entertainment, and your weakness can become a tool for manipulation. It's not that you should never speak about your challenges, but they should be shared with intention, with someone who can truly help, someone who understands, someone who won't use your honesty as a weapon. The rest of the world doesn't need to know. And the fewer people who know your struggles, the fewer people can use them against you. And finally, one of the most underestimated things you should guard is your family problems and private conflicts. It might feel natural to vent when emotions run high, to talk about your disagreements or frustrations with others. But the truth is, family issues are deeply personal. And once they are exposed to the outside world, they often become distorted, exaggerated, or misunderstood. People who hear only one side of the story will form judgments, and those judgments can damage relationships that could otherwise be healed. The strongest families are not those without conflict, but those that resolve their conflicts privately, with respect and care. By keeping these matters within the circle where they belong, you give relationships the chance to grow, to change, and to heal without the pressure of external opinions. Each of these lessons is about one essential truth. Your life is precious, and the details of it deserve to be protected. The more you reveal, the more power you give away. And the more power you give away, the less control you have over how your story is written. Silence is not just a lack of noise, it's an act of self-preservation. It's a shield. and it's a form of love. Love for yourself, your dreams, and your peace. If what you've heard so far resonates with you, if these truths feel like they're speaking directly to something inside you, then now might be the perfect time to take the next step. Subscribe to Stoic and Still, and stay with us on this journey of wisdom, healing, and inner strength. Together, we'll continue to explore the deeper layers of life, the parts that most people overlook, but that truly define who we are. One of the most subtle yet dangerous mistakes people often make is talking too much about their wealth, possessions, or financial situation. Deep down, human beings crave recognition. We want to feel valued, and unconsciously, we believe that if others know we're successful or financially secure, they'll respect us more. But in reality, revealing too much about your money usually brings far more problems than benefits. Once people know about your income, assets, or financial plans, their perspective of you can change, and not always for the better. Some will envy you, some will try to take advantage of you, and some, the most cunning, will attempt to undermine you to claim what you have. Staying quiet about your finances isn't about secrecy or shame. It's about protecting yourself from unnecessary risks. Let your success speak through your character, your calm, and your quiet confidence, not through numbers or boasts. The truly wise understand that their worth is not measured by what can be counted, but by what remains beyond measure. Another mistake you must avoid is speaking too openly about your opinions of other people, especially when they're not present. It's easy to be drawn into gossip or feel relieved when you vent your frustrations, but the habit of talking behind someone's back slowly erodes the trust others place in you. Worse still, once your words leave your mouth, they can be twisted, exaggerated, and weaponized, returning to harm you later. True maturity in communication is not about how much you say. It's about knowing when to remain silent and what to keep to yourself. Sometimes the greatest respect you can offer is not a compliment, but the choice to stay out of toxic conversations, to refuse to contribute to harmful narratives. Those with depth of character understand that every word they speak reflects who they are, far more than it reveals about the person they're talking about. Another deeply personal boundary to protect is your private life and romantic relationships. When we fall in love, our hearts often push us to share everything. The beautiful moments, the painful arguments, the smallest details. But the more you reveal about your relationship, the more you invite others to judge it, dissect it, and project their opinions onto it. Love, once exposed to too many outside voices, loses some of its sacredness. It needs a protected space to grow, to heal, and to evolve. By oversharing, you open the door to unsolicited advice, judgments, and interference, all of which can subtly influence how you see your partner and your relationship. The most meaningful love stories thrive in the quiet space between two people. They don't need an audience, they don't need validation, they only need the safety of mutual trust and the intimacy of privacy. Another common trap is boasting about your good deeds or sacrifices. You might believe that sharing your efforts will help others appreciate you more, but the more you talk about what you've done, the more the value of your actions diminishes. People stop seeing kindness as a part of your character and start viewing it as a plea for approval. The most powerful form of kindness is the one that remains unspoken. An act of goodness, done without the need for recognition, radiates far more strongly than any story about it. Let your acts of compassion remain a beautiful secret within you. In doing so, you protect not only the purity of your intentions, but also the humility that makes them meaningful. All of these lessons about money, opinions, relationships, and acts of kindness share one essential truth. Once spoken, They no longer belong solely to you. They can be twisted, judged, exploited, or misunderstood. And the more of yourself you reveal, the less control you have over how those revelations are used. True power often lies not in speaking, but in the silence that guards your inner world. Silence keeps your peace intact. Silence shields what is precious from scrutiny and judgment. And silence ensures that your dreams, your love, your kindness, and even your wounds remain in the safest place they can ever be, within you. One of the most painful mistakes people make, often without realizing it, is revealing their deepest wounds to people who have not earned the right to hear them. Sharing can indeed be an act of courage, but shared with the wrong person, it becomes a weapon that can be used against you. When you open up about past trauma, heartbreak, or buried pain to someone who lacks empathy or emotional maturity, they won't truly understand. Some may judge you, others might pity you, and some, the most harmful, might use your vulnerability as leverage or manipulation later on. Sharing pain is never wrong, but it must be done with discernment. Reserve those sacred stories for those who have proven their compassion and earned your trust, the ones who will hold your words gently and never throw them back at you. Remember, not everyone deserves access to the most fragile parts of your soul, because not everyone is safe enough to hold them. Another mistake many make is talking too much about their future plans and ambitions before they've taken shape. When you speak your goals aloud too soon, your mind often mistakes talking for doing, releasing the motivation that would have fueled your actions. Moreover, when others hear about your dreams, they may respond with skepticism, ridicule, or subtle discouragement. And if you allow those doubts to sink into your heart, they can become barriers that stop you from moving forward. Your dreams need the silence of patience to grow. They need the protection of a privacy to gather strength. Let them mature quietly in the soil of discipline and persistence until they are strong enough to bloom in the light. The truly successful rarely speak before they act. They let the results speak for them. And once they do, there's no argument left to be made. Another lesson the wise always follow is guarding their personal boundaries. Some people reveal too much about their limits, what breaks them, what they fear, what makes them weak, and in doing so, they give others a blueprint to exploit them. Once people know how to make you feel guilty, how to push you into compliance, how to cross your lines without consequence, they will. This is why protecting your internal boundaries is an art form. You don't need to tell people what hurts you. You don't need to explain where your breaking point is. Let them see only strength, because behind that strength, your true self can stay safe. Another crucial lesson: never reveal your financial strategies, business ideas, or future projects in detail to outsiders. In a world built on competition, revealing too much can lead to betrayal. People may take your ideas, execute them faster, or manipulate circumstances to their advantage. Not everyone cheering for you wants you to succeed. Sometimes, advice and interest are just ways to gather information. Silence here is not mistrust. It's self-preservation. Finally, be very careful about sharing your deepest values, spiritual beliefs, or guiding philosophies with those who are not ready to understand them. Sacred truths lose their strength when they are thrown into the arena of argument. What is holy within you should not be exposed to mockery or misunderstanding. Some truths are meant to be lived, not debated. The wise don't shout their values from rooftops. They embody them quietly, and their lives become the most powerful statement of all. All of these lessons lead to a deeper truth. Silence is not the absence of words. It is the presence of wisdom. By holding part of your inner world back, you protect it from judgment, exploitation, and erosion. You allow your heart the space it needs to grow. You give your dreams the soil they need to take root. And you keep your soul from being scattered by the winds of other people's opinions. Those who live quietly do not do so because they have nothing to say. They do so because they have learned the immense value of not saying it. They understand that not everything is worth sharing, and not everyone is worthy of knowing. And it is that selective silence, that deliberate withholding, that creates unshakable inner strength, deep peace, and a soul that cannot be shaken by the noise of the world. When you begin to practice silence, not the silence of fear, but the silence of wisdom, something extraordinary happens inside you. Your energy stops scattering in 1,000 different directions. Your thoughts become clearer. Your decisions become stronger. And suddenly, you begin to feel something you might not have felt in a long time. Power. Not the loud, external kind that comes from dominating others, but the quiet, unshakable power of someone who owns their inner world completely. It is in this space of inner sovereignty that you start to see life differently. You realize that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not every question deserves an answer. Not every doubt deserves a defense. And not every story deserves an audience. Your life is not a public stage, it's a sacred journey, and the more of it you protect, the more beauty and depth it gains. Think of silence as a garden, a private, sacred garden that no one can enter without permission. The fewer people who know the paths through it, the more it blooms. The less you expose it to judgment and noise, the more alive and fragrant it becomes. Your dreams grow stronger. Your plans unfold without interference. Your healing deepens. And your heart, once scattered across conversations, confessions, and explanations, comes home to itself again. This doesn't mean shutting the world out. It doesn't mean building walls so high that no one can reach you. It means being intentional. It means learning to choose who gets access to which parts of you. Some people have earned the right to know your fears. Most haven't. Some deserve to hear about your victories. Many don't. Some will cherish your vulnerability. Others will weaponize it. And that's why discernment, not distrust, is the language of a mature soul. Remember this: every time you choose silence over oversharing, you are not withholding. You are preserving. You are preserving your energy, your mystery, your dreams, and your power. And in that preservation, something sacred grows. Your self-respect, your sense of control, your peace. There's a deeper layer to all this too, one that goes beyond just protecting yourself. It's about identity. We often think we discover who we are by speaking, by telling our story, by sharing our truth. But the paradox is that sometimes we discover ourselves more fully in silence, when we stop explaining, stop justifying, stop seeking validation. It is in that silence that we begin to hear the quiet voice within. The voice that says, "This is who I am, and I don't need the world's approval to be it." So as you leave this video and return to the noise of everyday life, I want you to remember one simple truth. Silence is not emptiness. It is not weakness. It is not absence. It is presence. It is protection. It is power. And the most powerful version of you will always be the one who knows what to share and what to keep sacred. And now, I want to leave you with a gentle invitation, one that could change the way you show up in the world. Write a small promise to yourself, a commitment that from this day forward, you will guard your inner world with wisdom. You can write it in the comments as a way to make it real. Something as simple as, "I choose to protect my peace," or "I commit to speaking only what serves me." Let that be your declaration, your line in the sand. And if this message spoke to you, if you felt something awaken within you as we explored these 15 lessons, then I invite you to stay on this journey with us. Because this is only the beginning. There is so much more wisdom, so much more strength, so much more healing waiting for you here. Subscribe to this channel, and together we'll keep walking deeper into the power of silence, the strength of self-mastery, and the peace that comes from truly knowing yourself. Because the truth is this: the most beautiful parts of you are not the ones you shout out loud. They are the ones you protect, nurture, and carry quietly within. And that is where your greatest strength has always been, and always will be.